Hey everybody, this is Kendra. I wanted to talk about taking a time out during conflict with your partner or really anybody. So you can't do the work on your own when it comes to a partnership and then expect the other person to just know what you're doing or to know how to interact in more healthy ways. You have to tell them. And if they don't want to do it, then they don't want to do it, and you can't force them to do it. But that also doesn't mean that you cannot do the things that this workbook is saying to do, these things that are like going to help your relationship. You can't do that just on your own and then like expect them to do it, right? So a really big example is taking a time out. So if you're going to take a time out, remember what the Gottmans say, that you tell the person, I need a time out and I'll be back in 20 minutes, an hour. Maybe some people, because they're not super regulated and it's really new for them to do this, it's up to a day, right? I think that the research says, and I think the Gottmans even say, like, don't take up more than a certain amount of time. I don't know what that time limit is. So a day may not be ideal, but in my opinion, some people who are just starting this work, a day might be the only thing that they can do, right? So the person who calls the timeout is the person who has to return. You don't want your partner to feel abandoned and rejected. So you say, hey, Thomas, which is my boyfriend, I need a 20-minute timeout. I will be back in 20 minutes. I look at my clock during that 20 minutes. I'm not worrying about the relationship or the fight. I'm not texting him or emailing him or he's not running after me or texting me or emailing me or calling me or knocking on my door. If we've separated through the house, he's not doing those things, right? We are separated. Maybe I go clean. Maybe he goes and looks at Reddit or something like that, right? I'm also not pulling in, triangulating other people in my life. Shelby, which is my sister. Thomas and I just had this big fight. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not doing that. He's not on the phone with one of his friends. Kendra and I just had this big fight. Blah, blah, blah. We're not doing that. Okay. 20 minutes goes by. I say, okay, am I ready to have this conversation now? Yes. Okay. Hey, Thomas, let's have this conversation now again. So I'm the one who called the timeout. I'm the one who has to go back to it. Let's say that I need more time. Hey, Thomas, 20 minutes isn't enough time. I can text this to him or tell him. I just will tell him in our relationship. And I'll say, you know what? I need about 15 more minutes. And he's going to say, okay. And when 15 minutes rolls around, I'm like, okay, I feel good, or okay, I need more time, right? So you have to come back to the discussion and conversation. I think a day is at most, and you need to have the conversation. Now, if you're not able to have conversations and being able to do this work together, then you need to see a couples therapist. You each have your own counselor as well. Couples therapy doesn't work well. Coming from a counselor myself, I'm an intern, but I'm still a counselor. I have hundreds of hours under my belt. And from what I know, what I've read, and what I've seen, couples counseling does not work unless each person is in their own individual counseling. Because what the couples counseling session turns into is it turns into basically an individual counseling session for each person, and they're not really working on the couple stuff themselves, right? So coming back to taking a break, so then you have the talk. And then you can use all the other tools and skills that are provided by the Gottmans and the Hendrixes. I'll link the link below for relationship resources. And yeah, so remember though, if a person doesn't want to do it, you can't force them to do it. You either are going to be okay in the relationship without doing all the stuff, or you're going to break up. That's just the end. That's just it, right? The end. Yeah, or you're both going to be doing it and you're both going to be working towards it. But remember, both people have to be on board when you're trying new things so that the new things can have a chance to take hold, to start working, and be integrated into your life. You can't just try it once and be like, well, it made us get in a big fight. I'm not doing it again. No, you have to keep going. You have to create neuroplasticity. You have to do that for yourself and in your relationship. Because the only way to change is to do something different. And when you do something different, it might create a little bit of turmoil, but the success of that and the happiness of that and the health and growth of that in a conscious relationship is a heck of a lot better than being in chaos and sadness and unpleasantness all of the time and anxiousness all of the time. Okay, so if you value the content I create, please like, subscribe, and share. Bye.